Hello and welcome back to My Favorite People, and thank you very much for watching this lecture video. We're talking about carboxylic acid, and until now we reviewed the nomenclature and physical properties of carboxylic acid. But I think it's time to ask this a question: that how can we get carboxylic acid? What's the best method to produce carboxylic acid? And maybe one of the most common actually method is to tackle any unsaturated compound, because any unsaturated compound is going to have pi bond. And if there is a pi bond, whether it's a double or triple bond, that means there is a weakness inside the system. There is a place that we can add some to it. And if we can do it, then slowly we can actually tackle the sigma and break it and turn it to carboxylic acid. And there are different reagents. One of them potassium permanganate, or you can use O3 and do ozonolysis. And I'm going to review like those different compounds one by one. But let's go after oxidative cleavage of alkyne. Now, the alkyne, it can be internal. That means we have a triple bond that is attached to two different carbons. So we have two different R groups, or they can be even identical. It's just buried. Okay, double a triple bond is buried between the two carbons. Next one is our triple bond is attached to one alkyl or aryl group from one side, and another side we do have a hydrogen atom. Okay, so that's going to be a terminal alkyne. Now, if you use harsh condition, let's say potassium permanganate in the presence of sodium hydroxide, so the reaction is going to happen in a basic condition, and then you treat it with acidic solution in the second step, or if you run ozonolysis and like you treat it with water, in that case you can actually break this bond, and then when you break it, now you're going to have you are breaking three bonds, two pi's and one sigma, and the thing that you're going to get, you'll get a carbon that's attached to one oxygen through double bond. So I broke a three. Until now, I drew two of them. Next one, it will be a sigma bond with another oxygen, and this oxygen attached to hydrogen. And then there is an R group there. And how about R prime? Same thing is going to happen to it. So we will have R attached to carbon, carbon attached to oxygen through a double bond, another oxygen single bond, and we get hydrogen. And so I got two carboxylic acids. Okay. Regardless of which method we are using, we got acid. I had three bonds, one sigma and two pi. And so I'm going to draw the molecule in a way that's going to give me two sigma, and we got two sigma and one pi, or technically we got three bonds. So we had three bonds, and here again we got three bonds. Now, how about the terminal? If you use same condition for the terminal alkyne, and because there is a hydrogen attached to carbon, one of the carbon, it can go one step more and run and actually gets involved in another oxidation reaction, and it will turn the carboxylic acid to like a CO2. So again, I'm going to break the molecule from here, and that's going to give me R attached to carbon, carbon attached to oxygen through a double bond, and another oxygen through a single bond, and hydrogen. That's carboxylic acid. And the other side, I have I have one sigma with carbon and two pi's with carbon, and one also sigma with hydrogen. So technically, I have four bonds. I'm going to break those four bonds with with carbon. And so I say I have a carbon that was involved in four bonds. Two of them, they will be with one oxygen on the right side, and two more with another oxygen on the left side. So now I got four bonds. But the molecule now is CO2, is not an acid. Okay, what was the reason behind it? How come from acid we turned it to carbon dioxide? Because there was one hydrogen attached to carbon, and anytime you have hydrogen, still there is a place to take hydrogen out of the system and run another step of oxidation. Okay, let's practice some example again. So we have one alkyne that is attached to hydrogen from one side, and I'm going to run this reaction. Okay, I'm going to take this molecule and get it involved in two oxidative cleavage reaction and see what will happen. And in one case, I'm using harsh condition, sodium potassium permanganate with base, and then I will treat it with acidic solution. The solution is going to be basic, and don't be surprised if like you see they are applying heat sometime. And the second condition, I'm just simply adding, sodium potassium permanganate in water, and the mixture of this, I will technically add it to the alkyne molecule. So the second reaction is going to happen in a neutral condition, while the first one in a basic condition. Top one is going to be a harsh oxidation, and so the triple bond will be gone completely. That triple bond, I'm going to erase it, and next, and let's call this one carbon number one. Carbon, or maybe I should call this one carbon number one, and this one is two. So carbon number two, it will get involved in double bond with oxygen. It will give us a carbonyl group, and another oxygen that's going to give us OH group. So we got an acid. And how about carbon number one? Carbon number one is attached to hydrogen as well. That's going to go through one more step of oxidation. So instead of giving us such an acid, it will go through another step of oxidation, and this molecule simply it will turn to CO2. And so carbon number 1, it will give us CO2. So we got two product, CO2 plus carboxylic acid. Condition was harsh condition. Now, how do I know how harsh condition? If anytime you add potassium permanganate with a base, strong base, that's going to be a harsh condition. And remember, potassium permanganate, it has manganese with a high oxidation number. And if you want to figure the oxidation number for it, this one is a +1, oxygen is a -2, and -2. So technically the positive charge of manganese has to be +7. So manganese is missing 7 electrons. And where can we find those 7 electrons? The best sources steal them from carbon. And that's the reason, carbon is going through such a, harsh oxidation reaction. And if you make it mild oxidation, in that case, this is going to happen. The triple bond will disappear, but still we will have a sigma bond between those two carbon number 1 and carbon number 2. And so because still we have a sigma bond between them, that means we're not going to get an acid, but we get this. We get two carbonyl groups neighbor to each other, and this molecule is going to have a weakness, and the weakness is like you can technically attack any of this carbon, okay, to break that bond, and it can happen, and your body actually figured it, or nature figured it way before we came to to understand the chemistry behind it. And then the way actually our body process any sugar molecule, it will try to put two carbonyl group adjacent to each other, and then it will break it. And if you insert, for example, OH here, that's going to make it even better Levy group. So instead of carboxylic acid, we get two, carbonyl group. One of them technically is going to be a ketone, while the second is going to be aldehyde. Now, instead of using alkyne, I can tackle double bond. So instead of triple bond, this time we are going after double bond, and we are running ozonolysis, but we are using oxidant, another oxidant plus the ozone. Hydrogen peroxide is not a stable molecule, and it has two oxygen attached to each other, and each oxygen attached to another hydrogen through a single bond. And this bond is going to be a weak bond, and because it's a weak bond, it can easily break. And only way to actually, the easy way to break it is to steal electron from somewhere, and we can steal those electrons from a double bond. Okay, so we have a double bond. Let's highlight the double bond, and we're going to break this double bond. And on one side, we're going to put oxygen here, another side also another oxygen, and see what will happen. So I'm replacing the two carbons, technically, not the two carbon, the double bond by two oxygen atom. Forgive me, not the carbons. So that's going to give me this one. I have cyclohexane attached to another carbon through a double bond. So I keep the double bond, but then I will add oxygen here. Other side, I'm supposed to get this. Right? If there is no reducing agent, this is what you will get. Okay, sorry, if there's no oxidizing agent, let's say you had zinc, a reducing agent, or say sulfur, disulfur compound, and which it can actually stop the reaction or quench the reaction to one step of oxidation. The reaction is going to stop there, but it's not going to happen. And in this case, we're going to have another step of oxidation, and because we are using oxidizing agent, so this molecule, it will go through another step of oxidation. And because it has one hydrogen attached to carbon, that hydrogen is going to give a carbon a chance to go through oxidation, and it will be replaced by OH. So technically, OH will be inserted between carbon and hydrogen, and we will get such a molecule. So I'm going to have oxygen here. Now hydrogen, it will be attached to it. And the other side, still I have the carbonyl. So I got a carboxylic acid and plus a ketone. How about this one? In this case, we have, we have a double bond that's in one side attached to two carbon, another side attached to two hydrogens. So I have two hydrogens here. While there, I have this carbon and that carbon. Let's break this double bond. If we break it, we will get such a molecule. So we're going to get a ketone, and other side, that's supposed to give us carbon attached to oxygen, and that carbon attached to hydrogen. Okay, now because I have hydrogen, and in this case I have two hydrogen atoms, and I said anytime you have hydrogen atom, you can have oxidation. So I'm going to have oxidation. How many steps? Two steps, not a step, and O between two brackets, that means oxidation. That's going to give me technically this one. CO2, and then that's going to be my final product. So I'm going to say CO2 is going to be another product. What's the intermediate between the aldehyde and the CO2? You could get this. And because still there is a hydrogen there, the hydrogen, it can get involved in one more step of oxidation. It will turn to carbon dioxide. So terminal alkyne will give you CO2. Okay. And so we're not going to see technically the carboxylic acid. So a short summary of whatever I said until now. If you take an internal alkyne and treat it with a harsh condition, let's say potassium permanganate or ozone in the presence of water, the triple bond will break and it will give us 2-carboxylic acid. But if you run the reaction in a gentle way, let's say you are using a gentle and oxidizing agent instead of sodium hydroxide, you use a neutral condition, or whenever you are using ozone, you use it with a reducing agent. Let's say you use zinc or, for example, disulfur sulfide, molecule. In that case, instead of carboxylic group, we will have 2 adjacent carbonyl group. So it can the molecule, it can have an internal triple bond, or it can be terminal. That means this R is going to be H, and in that case, it will be a terminal alkyne. In both condition, whether it's internal or terminal, product will be 2 adjacent carbonyl group. And this is going to be end of this lecture. And thank you very much.